Hi, I'm Em of Em Doodles and Stuff. I do influencer baby name predictions mainly on TikTok, and I do baby name consultations. And here on YouTube, I do any other stuff that I feel like talking about. But specifically, it is more long form content. It's more rambling, and this is a prediction XL video where sometimes there's just an influencer that I want to talk about more than 3 minutes, more than TikTok can handle. I mean, I could technically make up to 10-minute long videos on TikTok, but like, let's be completely honest with ourselves. If you are scrolling on TikTok, you are not watching a whole 10-minute video. You know, so it's better to come over here. Now, I have had people say that the slower talking speed here is off-putting. You can bump it up. You can put on 1.25, 1.5. If you're feeling totally insane, you could put it on double speed. My husband listens to podcasts on double speed, and I tell him, like, that's going to ruin your brain. Like, in the same way that parents said, don't sit too close to the TV, you're going to ruin your eyes. I believe that listening to a podcast on double speed is ruining the actual depths of your brain. Now, I have found that recently I have been doing more and more predictions for influencers that I know less and less about. And I'm really enjoying it. So I'm here with I got my phone, I got my laptop here, I have an influencer up here, and I have no context, no backstory, no intel other than what is right in front of me. Like what is obvious right when I click on their accounts, okay? Now, sometimes this does bite me in the butt. I am more likely to accidentally suggest a baby name that is already the name of their niece or their clothing brand or the name of their mom's dog. All three of those things have happened. When I'm only looking at what is right in front of me, I am not always able to discern if these people have morals that align with mine. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes people are upset that I showcase an influencer who has morals that don't align with ours. And I have to answer, I didn't know. Like, I genuinely sometimes don't know everything behind the scenes, what they've shared in the past or their beliefs, unless it's right there, obviously in front of me. I'm okay with this, I'm okay with this because I'll admit there have been times in the past where I have scrolled back through someone's Instagram to spring of 2020 to see if they hosted any large indoor super spreader events. And I've done that, and it's always disappointing because they all did. Now, today's prediction is a couple that I didn't know anything else other than their names before this point. And when I first read their names, I assumed they were a pair of Irish lesbians. This is Eamon and Bec. I hope I'm saying Amen correctly. Eamon? So Eamon is a man and Bec is a woman. They're Canadian. And so first, I got to get the deets. I go to Eamon's Instagram account first, which has not had any new posts in 4 months. Okay, so let's go over to Beck's. Beck's account, Rebecca Maroney, has 2 posts from the last month, being September of 2023. But then prior to those, the most recent post was November of 2020. That's a 3-year gap. What is that about? And then there's their Instagram account called Eamon and Bec. I'm assuming that's like their official one for their channel. That account's most recent post was 3 months ago, and it looks like here they're mainly reposting short clips from their YouTube videos. So far, none of this is super helpful for knowing their current vibes, and that's what I'm looking for. Now, since all of the prediction requests I've seen for this couple have come from TikTok viewers, I go to that app to see if maybe they have a flourishing social media presence with the clock man. And actually, this one is the worst. They don't even have a bio. They're reposting those same YouTube clips. I honestly can't even tell if this TikTok account of theirs is really them or one of those creepy fan accounts. So what I'm realizing is that they are primarily YouTube creators and have largely opted not to cross-post their content on other platforms. And honestly, I applaud that. I really do. There's no one right or wrong way to share content on the web, but as my experience being both a creator and a consumer, my experience is that posting the exact same clip on TikTok, to Instagram Reels, to YouTube Shorts, to Facebook, whatever, maximizes your income potential, and it is so much work, and it's so effing annoying. That's my take. Ultimately, I don't cross-post my TikToks to Instagram Reels as an act of stubbornness. I just hate Reels. I don't want to see them. I don't want to contribute to them. Yes, I am missing out on monetary gain because of my bad attitude. But that kind of tells you everything you need to know about me. So yeah, it's super cool to see that this couple has 1.2 million YouTube subscribers and are putting other platforms on the back burner, essentially. I see here on their YouTube channel that they've uploaded 5 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago. They're super consistent about posting. It looks like all their videos are about 30 minutes long. They average around 500 to 800,000 views, and okay, there it is. Their video titled, "We're Having a Baby," from 3 months ago has 1.1 million views. Okay, when an influencer is primarily on YouTube, I have to see what their most viewed videos are. Let's look at this. Most viewed video, van tour after 2 years living in our tiny house on wheels. 6 million views. Next is tiny house swap, van life versus bus life. 3 people living in a van. Someone broke into our house, parenthesis, van life nightmare. 3 people living in a van, Scotland edition. Cool, that must have been beautiful. And then van life tour, ultimate off-grid sprinter van conversion. I'm not sure what that means, but most of those videos are from about 4 videos. Now, as I scroll down, I'm seeing more of their videos from 1 to 2 years ago of Beck documenting her journey with breast cancer. And I can't imagine what it would be like to go from living this very nomadic, adventurous life around the world. They were in Morocco at one point. I cannot imagine going from that to this. That must have been so awful and scary and painful. I absolutely send my heart out to them. It seems that Beck's health is in a better place because now they have a healthy pregnancy well underway. That is amazing. All of these recent thumbnails of their baby announcement and their gender reveal and their home projects they're currently doing are so very happy and hopeful. That's fantastic. Now the thing is, I'm not gonna watch all these. I'm not gonna do that with my time. I like that I don't know that much. I'm just really relying on the basics. There's only one video that I really feel like I need to click, and that is titled Name, Gender, Kids on YouTube, parenthesis, Honest Pregnancy Q&A. Yes, okay, so let's get into this. I'm gonna pull it up on my laptop. Okay, first of all, Beck with her short hair looks so much like Becca Martinez. So much. And she's kind of like a crunchy, cool YouTube-y mom as well. Beck says that Eamon is very curious. That's his best trait. And he has a tattoo that says, "Stay curious." That's the kind of thing that I make note of in my head. It feels like a really good vibe indicator. In this video, we're seeing glimpses of their home, which is a tiny remote cabin in the woods of Canada. And inside the cabin, it is plants galorzo. There's like a shelf full of plants with vines that are working their way across the books and the knickknacks and down the walls. Earthy house, former van people. They're gonna go with an earthy baby name. There's no doubt about that. Oh, they have a yurt, like a yurt greenhouse. That's very cool. Okay, now here in the yurt, as they garden, we are getting their list of baby names they like but won't be using for boys and girls. Yes. Okay, their baby is a girl. I'm so glad they shared both lists. This is the intel I'm here for. So let's look at these lists. Eamon's list of girls' names he likes but won't be using. We'll start there because it's the shortest. He says 7, 11, Dahlia, and Rue. And I just make a note that the tone here is very lighthearted. The way Beck is reacting, it's clear that 7 and 11 were never gonna make it, not in a million years. So even though he likes those, I would not personally account those into the brainstorm I'm about to do. Does that make sense? Is that fair? But Dahlia and Rue, let's keep those around. Now, if it were a boy, Eamon's list is Coda, Floyd, Cash, Kodiak, Bowie, and Bear. And here's where I learned that their dog's name is Bear. Yes, you have a tattoo that says stay curious and a garden in a yurt in the woods of Canada, and you have a dog named Bear. This is aesthetically very cohesive. If this was 2012 right now, they would have their Instagram bio say, "The mountains are calling and I must go." Now, the one thing I really gotta point out here is seeing the name Kodiak on their list, because I have a series here on YouTube called Doodle Talk where I talk about a completely random baby name off the US popularity charts. I pluck it out of thin air from any year, any data point, and just ramble about what comes to mind. Recently, the name was Cody, a weird spelling of Cody, so then I got into a discussion with myself on all the spelling variations of Cody and which one was acceptable. Cody with a K can be considered an ick these days because of polygamist Cody Brown and his spaghetti hair. I don't even think he counts as a polygamist anymore because didn't all except one of his wives leave him? He must be so embarrassed about that. Like, he's probably not embarrassed about being divorced. He's probably embarrassed about being monogamous. But in that video, I also pondered the spelling of Cody, Kodie. And in that video, I kid you not, I have pulled it up and written down a quote from myself to read to you here. This is what I said about Cody, Kodie. Imagine a really hip outdoorsy couple. We're talking Cotopaxi, Patagonia outdoorsy. They do film photography as they're going rock climbing. They're super into national parks. They drive a van. I want them to have a baby Kodiak. For that vibe, the Patagonia outdoorsy granola dad and mom, or dads and moms, I do like the idea of using the name Cody. I talked about Cody as a nickname for Kodaks before this. That's wild. And then viewers like you pointed out that Cody and Kodiak even more fits that granola vision than I had realized, because there's also the type of Alaskan bear called the Kodiak bear. So at this moment, it feels like that quote that I said was about Eamon and Bec's baby name list, even though I had no idea who they were at the time. That's amazing. That's validating. That makes me feel like we're in tune. I'm ready to plow into this. Now, this Eamon and Bec baby name aesthetic has so many visuals swirling around my head right now. I'm actually going to do one of my favorite things and make a Pinterest board. Sometimes I just, the conspiracy theory meme where he's got his board up there. That's usually how my head looks, and it helps to just get all the visuals out into a place where I could see them all at once, and then it's not so crowded up here. So yeah, I'm making a Pinterest board real quick. We're adding lots of bear pictures, Kodiak bears, Kodak cameras, some pictures of Canada and Alaska, more bears. Yeah, okay, now here's the thing. Oh my goodness, there's even a vintage advertisement. Here, I'll put it here. A vintage advertisement for a Kodak camera featuring a woman taking a picture of a bear. Bear is the name of their dog. Bear is an animal in Canada and Alaska. Let's just go ahead and assume it's a Kodiak bear. Okay, now, also, seeing the name Coda on Eamon's list is also reminiscent of the Disney movie Brother Bear, with the lead character whose name is Coda, who is a bear. Let's put Coda the bear on our Pinterest board. And that movie takes place in Alaska, which is America's Canada. Now, as I'm reading Coda, Kodiak, bear, on his list with the name Bowie sandwiched in the middle there, I actually at first misread it as Brownie, because the Kodak Brownie was a type of camera released in 1900, which was just this very simple little box. It was the first big consumer-friendly camera on the market. It was the first time any regular old schmo could snap a picture without being an experienced professional photographer. These cameras were actually first marketed to children and made of cardboard, which is very cute. So that's the Kodak Brownie camera. Kodiak Brownie. Google tells me that Kodiak bears are a type of brown bear. Do you understand that the conspiracy meme is in my head all the time? Like, that red string right now is connecting bear, Coda the bear, Kodak camera, Kodak Brownie camera, brown bear, Kodiak brown bear. And then also, adding to that aesthetic is also Brownie in the sense of Girl Scout ranking. Daisies are the youngest ranking, which is adorable beyond belief. And then the second youngest ranking of the Girl Scouts is the brownies. Oh, it's so cute. My mind right now is swirling with the vision of like a 1903 brownie Girl Scout, her brown uniform with like little neckerchief and her brown hat. She's holding a little brown cardboard brownie camera produced by Kodak, and she's on a Girl Scout trip to Alaska, bigger budget back then, and she emerges from her canvas tent to see from a safe distance on the other side of the river a majestic Kodiak brown bear. The Kodiak brown bear. Oh, it all connects so much. We're gonna put Brownie in our prediction. And if you're being like, what's wrong with you? How are you not acknowledging the actual thing that a brownie is? A brownie. And if you say you can't name a kid Brownie because of the dessert, I ask you to reconsider. Because think about this. Brownie versus ice cream. Personally, to me, I would take a brownie any day. Brownie versus cookie. Personally, I would take a brownie any day. Thinking about them as baby names. Brownie versus ice cream. You're not going to name someone ice cream. You're going to name them Brownie. Are you going to name a kid Brownie or Cookie? Personally, I'm doing Brownie. Case closed. Now, we're putting Brownie in our prediction, even though I think what I'm looking at next feels like a totally different direction. Beck's girl name list. Since this is mom's list and they are having a girl, I think this list out of everything is the most crucial information. Simply put, baby naming is for girls. Moms generally have more power in the baby naming, rightfully so. So she lists these following names for girls that she likes, but they're not going to use. Kai, Billy, Remy, Quinn, and Cove. So these lean a little bit trendier. These are, to me, categorized, these are all sweater names. And by that I mean you go on Instagram and you'll see the current trendy customized baby item is a chunky knit sweater where their name is embroidered really big and swoopy across the front. I often use these talented sweater accounts as baby name data because you'll see what trendy names the trendy moms are choosing because they're getting the sweater and they're naming the baby. Kai, Billy, Remy, Quinn, Cove, these are all sweater names. Now, shoot, this vibe is like a really different direction than the whole Pinterest vision I've created of the 1903 Girl Scout. Oh, oh my goodness. We need to add Scout to the list. Scout would be really good. Scout is like a perfect middle ground. I feel like it fits the vibe of Eamon and the Kodak, Kodiak, Brownie, Brown Bear, Girl Scout. Plus, Scout is very much a sweater name right now. Yes, yes, yes. Noted. Okay. Now, let's look at Beck's boy name list. She lists Koa with a K, so that really fits in perfectly with what we just said. Ollie, Bodie. Oh, you like Bodie? What do you think about Brownie? Sullivan, Coda. Okay, they've both listed Coda. These are a pair of brother bear enthusiasts. Charlie, Cash. Now, they both listed Cash, which surprises me because I more associate this name with like the suburbs of Memphis, not so much the forests of Canada, personally. Milo, Bobby, and Arlo. Again, some trendiness mixed in here. Ollie, Bodie, Charlie, Cash, Arlo. I could see all of those on sweaters. Now, there are some big clues they mention a little bit further into the video. Some clues and important details include: 1, we know the last name will be Fitzgerald. 2, there's likely going to be no middle name. These are important details because it helps consider the flow of the full name. They say that their #1 favorite boy name that they would use or will use one day if they had a boy is the name of an animal. Noted. And lastly, Beck says they love boy names for girls. Yes, this is very important because this means to me that I know not to disregard their boy list. Those lists with Charlie and Kodak and Bowie are still very relevant when you've explained that you like boy names for girls. Excellent. Yes, good. Now, we should also acknowledge that all of Beck's girl names were in fact gender neutral. That is a great confirmation to keep exploring that boy name, gender neutral name direction. Good, good, good. Because you know what? I'm going to be honest. There are a lot of times where someone says they like a gender neutral name, but then ultimately in the end, they choose a feminine name. I've seen that happen many times. There's not a problem with it. I'm just saying sometimes you like the idea of a gender neutral, but then when push comes to shove, you go traditional feminine. That could happen, but seeing her girl name list exclusively being gender neutral, I feel a little more confident that that's going to be the truth here. Okay, so first, should we mull over what we think that #1 boy name is? I absolutely need it to be Kodiak now. That's like abundantly clear in my soul. You like Kodak? You like Coda? You like Kodiak? But given Beck's leanings towards more trendy names, it is probably something more familiar. My bet is on Fox, but it could also be Wolf or Leo, because Leo means lion. Leo, maybe Sparrow. Yeah. Fox is definitely my top there. So this leads me to my biggest question. If they know with certainty that they would use the name of an animal if they had a boy, does that mean they will give an animal name to a girl? Because here, we got to play this out. Let's say the answer is yes. Yes, of course, for girls, we need to be looking at animal names. It totally fits the aesthetic they've described. I completely agree, it does. So let's say they choose an animal name for this baby girl. Let's just say it's Sparrow, as an example. Now, fast forward a few years. Let's pretend the baby boy name they love is Fox, and they get pregnant, and it's a boy. Are they the kind of couple that wants to have Sparrow and Fox? They want their family to be Sparrow and Fox. There's no one right or wrong answer to this, but I can tell you that depending on the person, the idea of having Sparrow and Fox as siblings either sounds like the absolute best idea or the absolute worst idea. would they want to go that hard on the matching? I don't know. I really don't know. And obviously we don't even know, are they planning to have more kids? We can never be certain that they would have a boy in the future. So this big question of animal name for a girl is hinging on a lot of hypotheticals we don't have the answers to. So feeling a little bit lost, that feels like a big part of the puzzle. So let's hone in on something we do know from the data that we have. We know they both like the name Coda. We know they both like the name Cash, which again, as an American, just feels like a different aesthetic, but I digress. One said Bodie, the other said Bowie. Very similar there. We know Beck loves a nicknamey name. She has mentioned Billy, Remy, Ollie, Bodie, Charlie, Bobby. And aside from animal themes specifically, there are generally nature themes on both of their girl lists. You've got Kai, which means sea in Hawaiian, which also raises the question of should non-Hawaiians be using it? Just want to put that out there. Cove. That is a landform near water. Dahlia is a type of flower. And rue means road in French, but looking at Google, it also means herb, or like it is an herb. There's something botanical connecting to rue, according to Google. So yeah, I'm going to take that. So when I look at all the details, all of my notes here that I have on my laptop, I hone in on this being the most condensed answer for what we're looking at. Trendy, nicknamey, boyish nature names. Okay? The name they will choose will most likely be a trendy, nicknamey, boyish nature name. And to be honest, thinking about this as my quest, my first reaction is, oh, all right, we can do that. I just felt so alive at the beginning of this brainstorm, making the whole Pinterest board and feeling so like deep in the woods. And now I'm just kind of accepting the fact that a mom who likes Kai, Billy, Remy, Quinn, and Cove probably is not choosing Brownie. But I want to exist in that space where I did believe that because I was just so happy there. I'm so happy looking at this Pinterest board with yurts glowing in the moonlight and vintage camping posters and cute little vintage Girl Scout uniforms and film stills from Brother Bear. I'll include the link to the Pinterest board. It's very soothing. I'm so happy here. There's even an illustration of a fox standing up on its hind legs, and it's wearing a hunter green canvas coat, and he has like a little messenger bag on his side. He has a hiking stick and black boots, which oddly, the black boots that this little fox is wearing is open toe. So like his little fox toes peek out of the edge. I'm not sure if I super like that. You know, he's kind of dressed like Queen Elizabeth going out on a hunt, which, when you think about it, is a little off-putting because weren't they hunting foxes? I don't know. Here's the fox if you want to see it. Now, I think the lesson I'm learning in this moment is that not all people in remote cabins are the same. I think my judgment at the beginning was clouded because I spend a lot of time fascinated by homesteader Instagram. Moms who often do have cabins in the woods or farmhouses on the prairie with a goal to homeschool, simple living, organic, Montessori, home birthing, wearing beige, making their own clothes, just a very dreamy, simple forest life that they present on social media. And then sometimes that direction spirals into like trad wife, biblical womanhood, extreme conservative beliefs, manifest destiny, Christian nationalism, and it's like, oh my God, are they cosplaying the 1840s? I can't look away. I eat that stuff up. Now, these type of people on social media, they have a lot of kids. So I'm used to seeing them and talking about this group quite a bit. In my YouTube video, my Little Women Influencers video, I even identified through some very thorough data that the most common name that type of group chooses is Nora. They all have a daughter named Nora. Anyways, not all cabin dwellers are that. And as I'm looking at the video thumbnails on Eamon and Bec's YouTube channel, it should have been abundantly clear to me that this isn't anywhere near a beige cosplay of Laura Ingalls direction. You know, they are first and foremost YouTubers, and they do those thumbnails that are like the style of being like really photoshopped with the really vibrant colors and the dramatic facial expressions that are pretty cheesy. Here's a few examples so you see what I mean. This style, it's to be expected in this genre of YouTube. It has mainstream appeal. It gets people's attention. This doesn't give me the feeling of, wow, they really beat to the tune of their own drum. Wow, they're really in tune with nature on a holistic and spiritual level. No, this doesn't give me that vibe, and that's okay. I just need to shift my framework to remember that this couple is a pair of YouTubers. Their actions reflect mainstream appeal. There is trendiness, and that is likely going to be relevant with the baby name too. So let's talk predictions. When you have let the world know that you're considering using the name Kai, you're also letting the world know you're also considering the name River. That's just something I feel in my bones. River, for sure. Kai and River. River, like the one that the little Girl Scout stood in front of with her Brownie camera watching the brown bear. River, for sure. I think it is gender neutral in a way and trendy in a way that they would have this on their radar, for sure. Now from River, my mind next goes to Rowan. Rowan, this is an Irish baby name with nature connections because there's the Rowan tree. I think if this couple was going down a baby name list, they would thoughtfully pause when they saw Rowan because Eamon is such an Irish name. I think Rowan is nice because it can be shortened down to Ro. Ro. That's really cute, and it's similar to the cutest name on Eamon's list, which was Rue. So Rue to Ro. It's like, oh, row, like row across the river to go see the bear. Careful. Now, if you paused at Rowan, you would probably also then jump over to Ronan. Ronan feels and sounds almost identical to Rowan, but it changes the meaning, the Irish meaning, to little seal, which is 10 out of 10 adorable. And I think Ronan is ever so slightly more boyish sounding, which is what they want. So that's possible. Now, okay, there are two names we need to get out of the way. Sage and Wren. Sage and Wren. I feel kind of bad with my attitude with these. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm just tired. I have often said that if every influencer named their baby the name that was most predicted in the comments, every baby would be named Sage. Hands down. I see it all the time. Even though names like Olivia and Emma and Oliver and Henry, those names are all in the top 5 most popular baby names right now. But I don't feel tired when I hear them, okay? I'm not suffering from a Henry fatigue or Emma exhaustion. And I think that's because even though they're popular now, they've always been around. The data charts confirm this. Olivia, Emma, Oliver, and Henry have been on the US popularity charts for 122 years. The entire duration that this list has existed, they've been floating around. Even when they fall out of favor, they're never completely out of style. I'm looking at Sage and Wren and their data charts, up and downs. It could not be more opposite. Instead of 122 years on the popularity charts, Sage has been on the list for 31 years, and Wren has only been on the popularity charts for 10 years. And in the span of 10 years, holy freaking cannoli, Wren went from totally obscure to being at spot 184. That is a skyrocket. It just went up so fast. There was no gradual little climb. No, it just shot up so fast. That is uncommon. It's uncommon. So maybe the best comparison I can give here is that hearing a traditional name like Emma is like listening to the music of Frank Sinatra. While hearing a new trendy baby name all the time in a brief period of time is like listening to Call Me Maybe in 2012. That one song got so popular, we had to hear it everywhere. I got tired. And like for the brief duration of that summer, it did feel like Call Me Maybe was more popular than Frank Sinatra. But when you look at the whole span of history, it's clear that Frank Sinatra's music is more long-lasting. Does that make sense? So that being said, Sage and Wren, they're trendy. Yeah. Do they fit Beck's list? Yes. Gender neutral, nature oriented. Yes, we gotta include it. And there's actually quite a few earthy baby names with a similar trajectory. Juniper is worth mentioning. Nickname Junie totally works. It's a bit more feminine than I expect from them, but maybe. Indigo. Indy? Are you kidding? Absolutely. Indy, Remy, Quinn, Cove. Like, go ahead and have quadruplets. Just repurpose the yurt into a nursery. Take it that's a good pun. From a plant nursery to a baby nursery. All of those names, Remy, Quinn, Cove, you add on Indy or Indigo, they are all so favorable in the embroidered knit baby sweater community. Let's just grab one of each, This name is very, very plausible. Okay, now if I allow myself to acknowledge my heartwarming Pinterest board while also keeping Beck's preferences in mind, I think there's a few other creative ideas we could maybe throw around. I would add in Everest, because it's a mountain, obviously. It brings to mind the theme of travel and adventure. Everest is one of the most awe-inspiring journeys of the human race. I think the name Everest feels masculine. It's unique because there's the name Everett, but then Everest is similar but not the same. Both are boyish though. The thing about Everest, it's on the US popularity charts as a boy name, but even then it's way down at spot 832. And I think that something that particularly works with this name is that it feels masculine, but Ev as a little nickname for Everest, that's for the girls. Ev, Evie, Ever, Everly, Evelyn. So I think there's a really nice balance of sounding masculine as a full name and feminine as a nickname. Yeah, I'm gonna put Everest on here. Now from there, my mind jumps to Canada, not as a name idea. I should probably clarify. I know that this whole time I have been talking about the US popularity charts, not the Canadian name data. I'm doing that because I'm lazy. I'm very familiar with how the US popularity charts work, and I don't think the data between the two countries would be vastly different to warrant me doing that extra work. This is obviously a huge generalization. I'm not taking into account the First Nations people and the large French-speaking population of Canada that would impact the baby name data for Canada. But as far as I understand, Eamon and Bec are neither of those populations, so I think their insights and opinions will be similar to US. Okay, so Canada, it's on my mind, and travel and nature and adventure and mountains. So I'm going to add the name of the tallest mountain in Canada, which is Mount Logan. Now here's the thing, I do think the name Logan has a very different vibe in the US. In a US context, Logan feels out of place to me with their aesthetic. In the same way, I personally feel the name Cash is an outlier on their list. I think Logan and Cash, they both make me think of brick-shaped kids sweating at an arcade after they finished football practice in North Carolina. I worry that Cash and Logan aren't nice to their moms all the time. And I think if Logan and Cash were in a Disney Channel original movie, they'd have gelled hair, okay? But Canada has a Mount Logan, and in that context, Logan feels like travel and adventure and nature. And I especially think Logan fits because looking at Eamon and Bec's list, we know they love an O sound. I do too, honestly. There's something cozy about that O, like we're supposed to be in a cabin with that letter. Does that make any sense at all? On their list, we see Cove, Koa, Ollie, Bodie, Coda, Milo, Bobby, Arlo, Kodak, Bowie. They love that sound. And since they want a name that is more common as a boy's name than a girl's name, Logan really fits all the criteria here. And you want to give girl Logan the nickname Lolo? That's a sweater name. Oh, you know what else? Let's add Shiloh while we're here. Shiloh as a name? Yeah. Oh, Shiloh, nickname? Lolo again. Sweater name. Boom. And then I'm going to add the name Gray. Okay, Gray. I think colors are always a solid direction to go when you want to evoke nature without being super obvious about it, like super straightforward, like river or sparrow. I think gray feels more masculine, but it's still really cute, especially it being just like this tiny little one-syllable name. I think someone would go from Kai and Cove and Quinn to gray. It feels similar to the soundscapes of those, but just a tad softened down, almost approaching the extreme softness we hear of those other names listed like Dahlia and Rue. Those are so soft. Gray is kind of right there in the middle. I love the full name Gray Fitzgerald because personally I think it sounds and looks so cohesive when the first letter matches with a middle letter. So it's not an alliteration name, but the G repeats. It's the first letter of the first name and then it's the middle letter of the last name. The letter R is repeating in both names. It looks really nice on paper, no matter which way you spell gray. Just a lot of repeating letters and sounds in both of those names. And then if we're really, truly needing to embrace the trendy, nature boyish names, we have to add August and we have to add Wilder. Or just Wild, like Wild with an E on the end for a girl. You know what I'm talking about, right? I am handcuffed here. We have to include August and Wilder. Let's list all of the names considered, even some of the ones from the very beginning of the video. Not Wolf though, that's not it. So I'm gonna list them starting with what I think is most likely correct, working our way down to least likely correct. Okay, here we go. River, Indigo, Scout, Wild or Wilder, Juniper, Wren, Shiloh, Sage, Rowan, Logan, August, Gray, Everest, Fox, Ronan, Sparrow, Brownie, and ending with Kodiak. Tell me what you think.